News, brothers and sisters, future news. Salami Ras. Suleiman Rahim here. Messenger of the Covenant. Breaker of Seven Seals. Brothers and sisters. It's getting more and more complicated, but that's the level you have to be on. You say you want to be God's. It's taking deeper and deeper and deeper. Hold on, bounce. Got a little bug here. I have to fix this permanently. Okay, hope that stays. But first, let me mention a couple of things here. This is the Quran here, right? The parable of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah, the parable of grain growing 7 years. Every year 100 grains. Allah multiplies further whom He pleases. Right? So I was talking about leverage. See, that's not justice. You're getting more than what you put in. See? But that's the point I was trying to, I couldn't remember how to, the verse, but that's what it's talking about there. That's what it's been hereafter, because you gain more and more leverage. So the more you get more than, in other words, you get more and more than you put in. So maybe you get 10 times more, 100 times more, 1,000 times. But a little bit, you get a lot back out. Because the universe is contracting, so you get more and more energy. We're doing less and less effort. But the opposite of that is, right, you get less energy. The more effort you put in, you get less energy. Till we got down to a point where we was in the fields, we was working our ass off, we wasn't getting anything for it. See? Now we're going to talk, I'm trying to explain that in a little more detail as we go along. But let's look at this next one here. And when there came a book from Allah verifying that which they have, and for a time used to pray for victory against those who disbelieve. Because they say, man, I wish we could just tear ass up those who don't believe, man. Why they don't believe? They hating on the people that won't believe in what they're saying. They hating on people who won't believe in what they're saying. But when they came to them, that which they recognized, see, they disbelieved in it. So it's actually praying against themselves. Because now they trying to get people to do something they refuse to do themselves. See, they say, oh, Elijah, it says Elijah, the messenger, right? They don't believe in it. And then right next to it says, the messenger covenant would succeed him, but they don't want to hear that. It's right there in the same verse. That's why I put in the same verse. So you can't say it was another verse, maybe the same verse. And they recognize it because the messenger covenant is verifying everything the messenger was saying. He was verifying the messenger. And they recognize it. See? And when their kingdom, that was they recognized, they disbelieved in it. So Allah's curse is on them. Allah's curse. Do you know what a curse is? You don't want a curse from Allah. That's the worst thing that happened to you. That's worse than destruction. Because He destroy you, that's it. Right? But a curse is like ongoing. See? If you destroy your whole seed, that's it. It's wiped out, it's gone. But everlasting shame and appallment, that's a curse. Because it continues. It passes on to your seed. See? So you pass this on to your seed. So your seed is, because Elijah Muhammad talked about that. Your seed is barren because you are your seed. So everlasting shame and appallment. Curse on Farrakhan. He already he got more coming. He thinks that cancer was bad. He's got much more coming, right? Evil is that which they sell their souls, that they should deny that which lies revealed. I've envied that I should send not His grace on whom serves the envious. Oh man, it should be me. I want to be a big man. See, envy. That's part envy. It. I'm talking about the ones as agents. Oh, they're going to pay a severe price too. See, I'm talking about these but they may be agents too. We know a bunch of agents out there. Right? Silas and Ben X and all these guys, right? Because they recognize it's everything that I'm saying is scripturally sound. It's right in the scripture. And nothing Farrakhan's saying, you can't find it. You can't anything to back it up. And know how they look. I keep popping up. No matter how they put that suit on me, it fits. They'll try to put on Farrakhan. It don't fit. It just don't fit. See? Antichrist. The place of his birth, the time of his birth. Right? He'd be with the messenger. Suddenly come to his temple. He'd break the 7 seals. Right? He'd be talking about the covenant. You see? On and on and on. With Farrakhan doing none of those things, and neither are they. See? So it's God's curse upon them. They that does not with lies veil are envy that send out his grace and whom serves his peace. Why did he bless me? You know, Farrakhan said the same thing. You remember, if you listen to what Farrakhan said, he's saying, when he made light of Muhammad, he said, why did God give me that message? Do anybody listen to what that clown says? So they incur wrath upon wrath. That means continue. It's not just one wrath upon wrath. And there's a basing chastisement for disbelievers, everlasting shame and appallment. Oh. So let them have fun. You know, it's like who laugh the longest. They got a little moment in the sun, right? They got an eternity of destruction. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. Okay. I'm going to try to explain a little better and go into more this idea, right? Because I'm bringing all together. Remember I talked about the war math, right? And consequence and damming up consequence. All this stuff I'm trying to bring together here because all of it is connected. But I give you a little bit here, a little bit here, right? And see if you can understand this a little bit. And I don't think I'm very successful at doing that, but I got to move on. I don't think you understand any of this because I ask little questions and the answers I get back are off the page, right? There was no answer at all, actually. And you know, I don't guess. If somebody asks me a question, either I know it or I don't know it. Because if I guess and I get it right, it didn't benefit me. That maybe impressed the person. Oh man, but you know yourself, you guess. And you happy, oh man, I got it right. But you didn't get it right, did you? You was guessing. See, guesses don't count. I keep telling you that. See, that's a devil's trick. Either it's right or it's wrong. Right? When somebody guessing whether they're doing heart surgery and you guess whether they get it right or not. Well, oh man, you survived me. I guess I got it right. Would you like that news? Yeah, oh, you got it right, but you was guessing? How many people did you guess wrong? Guessing? We're talking about facts and mathematics here. No guessing in mathematics. That's just religion. Religion's all about guessing. Because they don't know a goddamn thing, say guessing. So we keep on guessing. You don't know, you don't know. You don't know, that's on you. Because guessing only reveals how ignorant you are. Don't it? Because that means you don't know. And then you're stupid enough to come out to guess. Instead of being intelligent, say, I just don't know. And take the weight for it. And then maybe, if you start thinking like that, maybe you make sure you know next time you go and do the studying, make sure you know. But are they guessing? Keep on guessing. See? Should that get you through tribulation? I guess it's right. When somebody guesses right if they're doing surgery on you? We don't guess. You get it right. And if you don't know it, they do it. I don't know it. And if you sit around and continue not to know it, then that shows you that shows you ignorance. You're ignorant if you don't know. That's ignorance right there. But that shows you more if you don't do anything about it. I know, because first of all, like I always tell they didn't pay attention to me. But if you teach a child excuses, they'll never be successful. Because they always excuse away their success. Always excuse themselves. They excuse away. Oh man, excuse away their failures. I mean, oh well, I got offspring to do that, and they not successful at all. Don't teach children to make excuses. You nip that in the bud right away. Whoop their ass if you have to. Don't accept no excuses. Because once it makes you, oh man, well, because I got something that's sick with that stuff. It makes me, I don't want to hear it. I will not listen to excuses. And I will not listen to guesses. Right? This universe didn't come together by guessing. This angel didn't come back together by guessing. Right? And I didn't break the seals by guessing. That's devil stuff. That comes in a realm of apology. Oh, I'm sorry I hit you. I'm sorry I put you in a wheelchair. Man, I told you I was sorry. That keep me out the wheelchair? That's that devil idea, devil ideology, devil perspective. I forgot exactly how to quote it, but our mama said there's no excuses, mistakes, or something else that's in the law books of Islam. You make excuses, you're in the wrong place. Right? If you're guessing, you're in the wrong place. Guessing is like an excuse. It is an excuse, and it really is an excuse, isn't it? Because you don't know. Instead of going out trying to find out to know, you want to throw an excuse out there and hope that it's right. Instead of doing the work that it takes to make sure you know it's right. Okay, so what I'm going to talk, see, one sec, make sure I got this right here. Okay. Let's see if I get it right here. Guessing. Guessing. Oh boy, the devil really got us going. Okay, I talked about this yesterday, so let's go ahead and repeat this. I'm showing how universe expands and contracts. And I'm not going to elaborate on that, but the universe will keep contracting until it has to, the core has to, the pressure builds up in the core. And so the universe can't contract anymore because the pressure is built up on the outside. It's equal to the pressure inside, so that stops them. Otherwise, it would just keep on shrinking to out of existence. I'm not going to get into any detail about that, but the point is that the pressure on the outside and the pressure inside is the same. But the difference is the pressure outside is much in more space. The pressure inside is in a little more space. That means the temperature inside would be greater than the temperature on the outside, even though the pressure is equal, because the pressure is in a greater space on the outside. And it's in a small space on the inside. So therefore, the atom is hotter inside. That's why instead of a star, instead of a sun is hotter than the outside. Because the pressure on the inside is, otherwise the sun would just keep on shrinking until it collapses. It stay there because the pressure on the outside is equal to the pressure, not on the outside of the sun, I'm talking about, you see, the yellow part, that's the outside, and the black part is inside. So if you see the sun, you see the outside, and the core, you can't see that, but the pressure inside is equal to, so therefore it stays that size. And if the pressure inside gets greater, then it explodes. If we have supernovas, when the pressure inside becomes greater than the pressure outside, because that outside can't keep it contained anymore, so it explodes. So, these little concepts, okay, let's look at this one. Now it's showing you this. Oops. Well, I went ahead. Hold it. I missed something. Okay. I missed something there. Okay, hold on. Let me get back. Yeah, I think I do need a helper. I'm helpless these days, boy. I'm trying to keep up with so much stuff, and the day I had, I can't even tell you about stuff that went on today. It was some day. So let's see here, see if what this is showing. Okay. Let's put the next one. I may have got this mixed up here. I messed up something. Okay, I see what happened. I don't really need to do this, but let me go ahead. I guess it's formative too. I guess. Oh boy. I guess. Oh, come on. Do something. There you go. Okay, this is the point I was making before. See, the core, but when it spans back up, it spans back to where it was. So the core is not, returns. And that's where the universe would be. It would just contract and expand, contract forever, contract just to pure energy, and back to the center where it'd be matter in the center, and then return back to energy. Because in the center, you can see that matter, right? Because matter is just another form of energy. So it expands, contracts to build up that core, right? And then it expands again, it's all back energy. See, that's the point I was trying to make here. But what happens if, right, just here? What happens if that matter wants to maintain its form? Then you got the universe trying to pull it apart. It's got a lot of tension on it because it's supposed to turn back to real energy, natural energy. And I explained that when I was talking about how everybody was trying to do an energy deprivation, and they get more and more sessions, more. So I said, like to the gorilla, man, they get almost everything. Then some energy deprivation, but they lost their form. They lost their form entirely. Well, almost entirely. Still like the physical form of us. They got that much, right? But look at the devils. Get all their accessories. Look at the Arabs, and they became white. Everybody did something to try to minimize or avoid energy deprivation, all except us. We didn't. So we maintained form, but we suffered intense tension, energy deprivation. Okay, let's move on, brothers and sisters. Okay, now let me explain a couple of things. They talk about micro, maybe you've heard this before, micro and macro. And macaroni, micro, now microscope, micro and macro. Those are scientific definitions. Now, I'm locked in at this point, to the devil's physical or scientific definitions, which they hold for the most part. Some of them, because remember, they do have some knowledge of it. But a lot of it's not that clear because they don't have like quantum mechanics. That's theoretical. See? But it's good enough for now. So when they first micro, macro, I go along with that one. Micro means on the microscopic level, that means atoms on the atomic level. That's when they talk about micro. Right? When they say macro, that means everything above that, stars, planets, universe itself, macro. But micro is down to atomic, that's what quantum physics deal with down on the micro level. So here's the atoms. That's not really what an atom looks like. That's their different. Again, see, they have basic ideas, but that's not what an atom looks like. No, don't look like that. But they don't know what it looks like because they don't have the ability. See, the reason, I'm not going to get off track here. The reason why they don't know what an atom looks like is because they can't see it. So how can they? Because what they can see, all they can see is photons. See, when you see something, you see photons. That's what you see. You see, when everything you see something that's emitting photons. Atoms don't emit photons. Right? Well, let's see. Let me think about that. You can make an atom emit photon. I don't want to get too. Well, for those of you scientific thinkers, say you're on the second floor Okay, you have so much energy to get. It takes how much energy it takes to get on the second floor, right? But if you go back to the first floor, then you don't need that much energy. It escapes. Yeah, so in other words, it takes so much energy to be on the second floor, but it don't take so much energy on the first floor. So back to the first floor, that's a photon. That's what photons are. So electron move from one level to another. If it drops down, then it takes so much energy to stay on the second floor, so to speak, second level. If it drops back down to first level, that energy is released. That's what a photon is. I'm not going to speak. I'm not going to go too deep in that. Same thing. When a photon hits an atom, it'll move electron from the first floor to the second floor. And then if it go back to the first floor, and release. That's what photons are. So what they see, they can see the photon, right? But they can't see what's emitting the photon. That's a better way to see it. They can't see, because remember, all they see is the photon. So they can't see electron, because electron is not a photon. Electron emits photons. So they can't see protons and neutrons, and can't see it because they emit photons, right? But they're not photons. You can't see. So they guess what it looks like. Okay? I don't know if that helped you or not. But it doesn't look anything like that. I can tell you that right now. I can show you what it looks like. But I'm not going to do it right now. I think I probably have done it in the past. So those things you can't tell by your eyes. You have to tell by your mind. Okay, macro. This macro. I'll just show you what the micro. This micro level. That's the micro level. Atoms. Now the micro level, the universe is totally mathematics. I'm not going to explain where atom stuff come from. I got presentations that explain all that stuff, right? On a micro level, atomic level, every reaction has opposite reaction, right? Immediately. When they say every reaction has opposite but equal reaction, they don't put time in there. And there's a reason. Well, I don't know if they know it's a reason, but every reaction has opposite but equal reaction. And that's true. Every reaction has opposite equal reaction. On atomic level, it's immediate, instant. On a micro level, and the universe is made up. The universe is all energy. And on the fundamental level, at the bottom, everything is micro. That's the smallest level. Atoms. Okay? But now, remember, energy is more fundamental than atoms because atoms is what's made up of energy. I'm getting too far into this, brothers and sisters. I don't know if I could even explain this. There's the macro. The macro is the universe, right? That's all. It's macro. Macro is basically a bunch of atoms together, and the universe is all atoms. See, you're not on the atomic level anymore. You're on a level with the groups of atoms. In the case of the universe, all the atoms together. That's the macro level. See, and so the macro level, right? See, it's acting, reacting too. See, but I keep telling you, it's an event. Now, the macro level, every action, but what's the action? The action is expansion. How long does that expansion take? 70 trillion years. That's the action. So reaction is the contraction. And it's the opposite, it's an equal reaction. It's and then now that's the opposite equal reaction. It goes forever like that. See? But there's a time element there. See? Because you're only talking on the macro level. See? Now, it's doing that, but on the micro level in that universe, it's still it reaction has opposite reaction immediately. Because the atoms on that level, the atoms still react that way. Atoms act that way. Every action has opposite reaction. But on the macro level, it works on the event. The event. See? Because you're talking about groups of atoms doing something. Because that's what the universe is. A group of atoms, basically, and it's more complicated, but I'm trying to keep it simple. It's a group of atoms doing something, expanding. They're getting further and further apart. These atoms getting further and further apart. And then they start contracting, they get closer and closer together. So that's the macro as opposed to the micro. And on the macro level, we're talking about the event. So the reaction to the expansion is a contraction. Hope you understand that. Okay. So let's go on and see if we can dig a little deeper here. Okay, I talked about this as a question. I didn't really get a satisfactory answer, but anyway, what occurred in heaven? Well, actually, this I got this out of order. There I go again. I want to tell this first. Whenever she ended 1,000 years, will be loosed as Satan out of prison him, he will go forth to make error nations that in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog. So Gog, Magog, and Satan are released out of prison. That's the beginning of an event. See, I tell you, all this stuff in it's all mathematics. You just don't you don't see it that way because you're not mathematically inclined. You're talking about the event here. And when the event started. Okay? To lead them together into war, which numbered them as sands of the sea. Okay. And the city having been loved, right? They're talking about the holy city. Do they actually say that? Okay. The city having been loved, right? And some say Jerusalem, some say the holy city, depending on translation. This is the best translation, but you have to understand what they're talking about here. Because it tells you where it is. The city having been loved and stepped down. Okay. And the city having been loved and stepped down fire to heaven and it ate down them. So some people read this wrong. They think the fire is eating down Gog and Magog. No. It says, the city having been loved stepped down fire to heaven. Well, see, okay, there are different translations. They say in the sight of men, all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna leave it like it is. And the city having been loved, stepped down fire to heaven and ate down them. See? Just talking about the city that having been loved on Jerusalem. They rain in fire, missiles down on them. See? Because you know that's true, because it says in the next verse, the devil making them the earth was thrown to the lake of fire. But they already burned up. How you be thrown in the lake of fire? It says the fire burned, ate them down. So they're talking about the people, right? That in the Holy See. So in other words, Gog and Magog and the Antichrist, right? They're attacking, right? The city having been loved of Jerusalem. In other words, there's a conflagration going on in that area of the world. Keep it simple, right? And they'll make the earth was thrown in the lake of fire, and so forth also the wild beasts and false prophet. And they will be tormented day and night to ages. Okay? So that's the end of the event, because that's when they're in. It started and it ended. That's an event. And it tells you when the event would end, right? It's when this conflagration in heaven takes place. Some kind of conflagration in heaven takes place in the Middle East. We know heaven represents the Middle East, especially if you don't understand the angel. And that's where they destroy that. So we say where they birthed the beginning and where they end. It's right there in chapter 2, right? So let's go back here. I got this out of order here. And occurred war in heaven. Okay, that's the conflagration. So a war's going on, and then Michael's angels, phase 2, they get into it. And this is where the devil, right, says, and the devil, Satan was thrown, right? And it was thrown out. You see? So a war takes place. Okay, now let's try to make sense of this. I got a lot more things to talk about, bro, since it relates to this. We're talking about the event here. And we say the event started there. We say the event would end. Now, we understand when I'm talking about pressure, event. Remember, every action has an opposite reaction. So we see the universe expanding. Well, we know eventually it's going to be a reaction. It's going to contract. But let me see if you can hold on to this, brothers and sisters. I'm not getting things out of. I'm kind of feeling my way through this, brothers and sisters, because I have a structure to say it, but as I'm talking, I'm saying, well, maybe I should hit this point just right now. Guessing. Okay. Everybody gets the same amount of energy, right? I'm going to deal more a little bit. I got some more graphics to explain this. But I think at this point, maybe this might be a good point to point some of this out. Okay. So, remember I talking about quality of energy? The energy is just energy, but if you add time discipline, then you turn it into power. See, because entropy means turning energy from one form to another. So that's what I said, the universe, right? I said you got the two fundamental things in every reaction, opposite reaction. That's on the fundamental level, right? And then on a macro level, I'm saying now, entropy, right? You have every reaction, opposite equal reaction, right? I'm saying that's there's a time element there, and also I'm saying that it's also because that's what the universe is. It's changing from one form to another. First it's contracting, and then it's expanding. It's one form to another. And also, when you change energy from just energy into a star, that's entropy. A star turning back to energy, pure energy. That's entropy. It's a change energy. When you take energy and turn it into the discipline, add discipline to it, multiply discipline time, then you change the form of the energy. Still energy, you change the form of it. That's what entropy is all about. On a micro level, it's not that. On a micro level, it's just action, reaction, period. Not changing any form of anything. Just action, reaction, right? And so on the macro level, you still got that fundamental. That's still fundamental principle. But you're talking about groups. Well, let me move on. I'm going to get too bogged down here in a minute. Okay. And we're talking about events, right? Okay. So what happens is I'm going to go into a few things, but I didn't want to go into it because I don't think anybody out there has the math to understanding this stuff. Maybe they do. I put anybody down, but my experience, the universe spins. It's a macro thing. It spins. Now, anybody that ever took a rope and put a rock on and spin around, before you spin it, the rock is harder and harder because you can feel the pull of the rock. It stays, the string gets tighter and tighter and tighter. That's called centrifugal force. There's another thing called centripetal force, but I'm not going to talk about that. Centrifugal force. It forces, right, something the force to go outward. So because the universe spins, it causes it to expand. That's the force that causes it to expand. And so it spins. That's the force, right? But as it expands, that force is being used up. It's not infinite force. So it takes this how much force so as it spins, that force gets weaker and weaker and weaker because it's used up to cause it to spin. So eventually, there's no more spin anymore. The universe stops spinning because now it's expanded. It's really big, but there's no spinning anymore, right? But the thing is remember, as it expands, I don't know how to make this simple, brothers and sisters. I just got to tell you. Remember I said the micro. Okay, as the universe expands, that means the atoms getting further and further apart each other. That means the tension is building up because they want to come back together. But that force is nothing. The force is pulling apart. That's caused the expansion because that force is so great. That spinning force is so great. Centrifugal force is causing atoms to move further and further apart. As they move further apart, the universe gets bigger and bigger because the atoms are further and further apart. But they want to be together, so they're trying to pull. So the tension is like a rubber band. You pull it, the more you pull the rubber band, the tighter it gets. The more you pull it tighter it gets, you can feel the force on it. So there's a force trying to pull it back. And if it don't snap, essentially you put enough, it's going to pop back together. So what happens once it keeps on to it, but once that spin, then the force that was, now there's nothing to keep those atoms, right, separated because the spin is gone. It's spent. The force that is spent because it's used all to span the universe. So now that force overcomes, right? The contraction force overcomes that, start pulling everything back together. Better start pulling back together, right? Then the spin starts gaining energy again, right? But the force that's pulling together is greater than that spin until it gets down here, and this now the atoms have very little force between because they all together now, they're comfortable, right? But now that spin is super hot, so now it pulls it back. So just keep going back and forth like that. I don't know if I'm explaining that well enough, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to figure out where to explain it as easy as possible. So it's two. So, but remember, at the micro, that's the attraction of the atoms and so forth, right? It's always happening, but you got that centrifugal force, right? That causes it is greater until it's spent. Because remember, it's just changed from one force to another. Spin force changed into tension. The spin force, centrifugal force, transforms into tension until the tension is so great, and then the centrifugal force is spent. So now the tension pulls things back together. But when we start pulling back together, right, then centrifugal force starts building up again. Right? So by the time it pulls everything together, the universe is spinning super fast. And then it starts pulling back again. And it goes back and forth like that forever. Now, what does all this mean? It takes, I'm trying to put this, I give you the mathematical background to explain how it affects our lives and what's going on and how to connect war, math, and all this stuff together. Okay. So, before I move on to the more graphic and everything, right? See the elevator again, right? I mean, yeah. And everybody's in there. Okay. And it's tight. So you want more room. So you start pushing people. Right? Now they're resisting. See? They push it back, they're resisting. Because when I say about the universe spinning right, it says there's a centrifugal force. The resistance is the atoms wanting to stay together. That's resistance. They want to stay together, but the centrifugal force is pulling apart. That's resistance. That resistance is building as the universe spins faster and faster. I mean, no, it doesn't spin fast. It's spinning as fast as when it's totally contracted. Right now, the universe is spinning very fast. I mean, I got it backwards. It's spinning very slow. It's when it's totally contracted. That's means it's spinning very fast. Right now, it's spinning very slow. Right? So now you can start pulling it back together. But you're in the elevator, and so you start pushing, and obviously, you're gonna feel when you start pushing, people just are going, right? Because you feel the pressure of you pushing them, because you feel opposite reaction, right? But you feel the reaction of the resistance. It's a subtle difference there, but I hope you make sense of it. You keep doing that. But remember, it takes energy for you to do that. You only got so much energy. So as you're doing it, you spin energy until, if you're really strong, you might be able to push quite a bit. But you push until your energy is spent. Now you got all this space, but you ain't got no more energy. Right? But now that resistance is built up great because everybody's resisting you, right? And now you have more energy to hold them up. Because you got to keep energy to maintain that situation. Once you put the pressure on them, right? You got to keep that up. You got to keep putting energy, and you don't have more energy to keep. You're getting tired. You can't, right? That's why you get tired. Your energy is running out. So you're pushing, but oh man, it's like you're lifting a weight, right? And after a while, man, then you got to sit down because you spent the energy lifting that weight. Now you got to rest. So you spend all this energy pushing these people. Now, right, it's like lifting a weight, man. Okay, you can't go any further. But when you relax, then you go just stay there because now their resistance, right, it's built up. They can push back and start squeezing you. So let me move on. I'm going to talk more about that in a different way in a minute. Okay, where are we at here? Where are we at? Okay. Why is that? Oh, I messed that one up. Okay, I don't know if that's the computer doing that or me. Those of you familiar with Angel understands this, right? Oh, no. Okay. I see. Hold on, brothers and sisters. Again, another issue. I copied that from another program, and so I neglected to adjust the timing. I neglected just the timing on it. So let me get it together here. Okay. I was sure I fixed that. I did. So why is it? Oh, okay. That's what I did. That's what I did. Okay. Now, why is that doing that? Okay, I see why it's doing that too. One second, brothers and sisters. Take it out. Take it out. Okay. Check that, because this is going to be all wrong too. Okay. We're good. Okay. All right. Nope. There you go. All right, there you go. Okay. Now, this graphic, those of you familiar with the angel, this is one of the chapters, and this shows how Satan has control of all the nations. Right? He's one sitting on the throne. He's not God. Say God isn't. How is that God if he has the book in his hand? He don't understand himself, because the Lamb took the book from him, and no one understand. No one in heavens, earth, under earth. That means if that was God. How come you don't? Anyway, that's another story. But it says how they was controlling the nations. Right? Now, they weren't involved in that. They're part of European, but they're on the maternal side. That's another issue. Anyway, and Elijah Muhammad thought that was 24 scientists. No, he's wrong on that one. They're not even close. Anyway, that's the nations, and they're under control. We over here, right on the top, on the top left, right. That's the original nations. Got demons and everything, right. They're under control of America. Orientals, they was under control of Russia. Communism ideology. Is that a coincidence? China, Korea, Vietnam, they was all communists. And they got that from Russia. Right? And the British had control of the Arabs and India and all that stuff. And Europeans had control of Africa. Is that a coincidence? These are all nations under control of the Europeans, right? And specifically Gog and Magog. Right? Gog had us and Magog had the Arabs and the Indians. Right? Okay, let's move on. And for Israel, he can control everything. He control all of it. They want to sit on the throne. They're the God of this world. That's what Jesus said, right? Okay. Now, what happens here is that right now, all the nations broke free. They broke free of their captivity, except us. We're still in captivity. That's why it says, bless those who keep their garments. I'm not going into that kind of detail, but we're still in captivity. All the rest of the nations, right? And Africa, as we speak, is throwing America out of it. America out of Africa, they're throwing France out of Africa. They still got some remnants there, right? But India, they got British out of there, right? They're not under Russian control. Russia's under Russia's not communist anymore, so they're not under Russian control anymore, right? And Britain no longer has no control of the Middle East anymore. I mean, not in the control of they're not dominating them or occupying them anymore. You understand? But we still dominated. We still a nation still under control. We don't even know we're a nation under control of America. In fact, we actually there in the country. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, what am I talking about here? The color's not showing because, anyway, I just have to talk through it. Right. In the center there, right? Okay, you see it in the center there, that represents Europeans, right? And see a big circle around it, that represents the energy they have, right? So they have so much energy they have in relation to everybody because they don't need that much energy because they're stripped down version. So everybody got the same amount of energy, but say they only need 1% of their energy, and they 99% of it they got other things. In other words, they make $1,000 a day. They only need $100 to maintain themselves, and they got $900, right? Do all the things they want to. But us, right? See, they require $100 a day to maintain themselves. And say all of us getting $1,000 a day. Say it like that, right? Everybody's getting $1,000 a day. But the devils don't need $100 a day to maintain themselves. So they got $900 to do whatever they want to do. It's disposable income, so to speak, right? But take the other stream, we need $1,000 a day to maintain ourselves. So we don't have no money for nothing else. We have nothing money for nothing else. Just maintain ourselves. So we can't party. We have money to do anything else. We have money for a car, nothing. Just all the energy we get, we have to maintain ourselves. And then you got different groups in here. So you got, if I can point these out right, because I see this covering up the color because these are different colors. I'm not going to mess around with that, right? So this one is center, right? He got enough energy to cover everybody. If he's applying discipline, he got enough energy to control everybody, right? But then next is Orientals. They got a lot of energy, but not enough. They're still under control, right? And then you got the Asians. But they don't have they have less because they need more energy to maintain themselves. They got the Africans. They got less energy disposal because they need more. So let's say like they need 800 use energy. That means they only got 200, right, to do things with, right? And we also don't have any energy at all. See, all the energy is just to maintain ourselves. Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters, because I'm trying to make some of this point. So when you get here, you see the energy is increasing, right? So, but the thing is that now you see the Orientals, they're not under control of this anymore. They got enough energy that, because they're losing energy. I'm not going to go there yet. But this, Europeans, right? So they don't have enough energy to control this one anymore. They have less energy to control this one, and less, right? In other words, they have more control. They have less. They have no control, energy to control this, right? Less. And they have more energy to control this, and even more. And us, they almost have total control of us, right? Because we have so low energy. But they lost control of this, and they lose control of this, and they're about to lose control of this, and we still under their domination because the amount of energy we have to work with. So we gained some more energy, but it's still not enough to break loose. This broke totally loose. This is breaking it loose, right? This is trying to break loose, and we still stuck here. Hope you understand, because the amount of energy we have. So as long as they have discipline, this is how much. This represents their power, right? As long as they apply discipline to it. If they don't have discipline, just have energy. Right? Okay, let's move on. So here, it's even worse. These broke free. These broke free. This is almost free. Right? And, oh, okay, I messed this one up. This is over here. So this should be a broke free. And also, at this point, all broke free. This should be, I'm going to just change it. Give me a second, brothers and sisters. Just give me a second here. I ain't making no excuses here, brothers and sisters. I ain't making no excuses. I just messed up. Oh. I had no idea. I put the wrong one there. Okay. Put the wrong one there. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here we are right here. We're breaking free. Everybody else is broke free. They don't have the power to control them anymore. Okay? Keep that in mind. I'm trying to bring those together. We're going to go past this one for now. No, okay, let me back up. So, okay, previous. Okay, let's talk about it for a little bit. Let's leave it there. Okay. Energy deprivation. Less energy. So we produce a being that requires less energy. Adam. So he gave him rule because they had enough energy. They make milkshake blood, be bad rule, but we agreed it better than no rule. And then we knew we could take advantage of that because the pressure they would put on us as a result of the Holocaust would cause us to transform into a stronger from angels to gods. Leave it there. Okay. So at this point, right? And then what happens? Remember, this is energy deprivation. So the more greater energy deprivation is, right? Because we went to worse. If energy deprivation kept going worse, then we'd probably got totally. And then Africa would probably went into Holocaust. Right? I mean, it got deeper and deeper, but it stopped right there. That was it, right there. 1619, 2019 was the bottom of it. As far as it went, that's as deep as it went. Holocaust. So we the only ones went through it. Because if it went worse than that, then I don't know what would happen to us. Right? And then everybody else would suffer it more too. Right? Okay. So that's the bottom line right there. Right there. Okay. But then the universe starts contracting. Right? Now I don't want to get too complicated here because if I talk about this, okay. Remember, they need discipline. That's the reason why they went to the Dark Age, because they lost discipline. That's an old story. It's just not easy to get all this in this presentation, brothers. It's just ain't one thing about it. Anyway, so what happens is that, remember, we start gaining energy. Now, the point you need to understand here is that, remember, when you put pressure on something, right? If you put a balloon down, push the balloon down in the water, you got to keep applying energy to keep it underwater. I mean, you got it underwater, but to keep it underwater, you got to keep applying energy to keep the force under the water. You got to keep applying energy. So if you run out of energy, then you can't do it anymore. It comes up. So you got to keep on applying energy. So if the Europeans got control of the nations, right? Remember, they got more energy. They put a discipline, but they have to keep on using it. Remember, they get so much energy. They have to keep applying energy to maintain that. So that means they can't use that energy for something else because they got, right? They want to control other nations, so they apply the energy in that respect. But they got to keep on all the energy they get. They got to keep So that way they won't be able to use the energy for something else. You understand? So they said, oh, we're going to use that energy to try to control the nations. And they was given that mission to use the energy with discipline to turn into power. Right? See? Because when they was used, they had nothing because they had no discipline. Right? So the energy, they had energy, but they had no power. And so they were just wicked and evil and sick and doing all kinds of fornication and everything else. That's the energy, that's why they had disease and everything up there. They had energy, just had no discipline. So they was using energy for all kinds of wickedness against themselves and fighting each other. And they had wars all the time up in Europe and had 100-year wars and all that kind of stuff. Because that's the way the energy was used, because they had no discipline. But once they got discipline, they had that turn into power. And they used that power, said, we're going to use that power to take control of the nations. Right? So they get so much power, they get some energy every day. They said, we're going to use it for that purpose. So we're not using it for anything else. We use it for that purpose. Right? Remember, they get so much energy per day. We use for that with discipline. We use it to have purpose. That means they got to keep on every day. They have to say if it takes a trillion tons of energy to maintain, and they get and they get 10 trillions a day. They have to, whatever they're getting. If they let's keep it simple. If they're getting a trillion a day, right, and they're using a trillion to maintain, then they have every day they have to use that trillion they get. They have to use it. They can't use it for anything else because they're using it to control the nations. I mean, that's oversimplification because they have to use all the energy of something else. Like I said, so much to maintain themselves, but the rest of it. But you understand the point I'm trying to make here. So the point is, whatever energy it takes to control the nation they're using, that means they have to use that much every day to maintain control. If they want to expand the control, they got to use more energy to do that. And that means more and more every day to do that. It takes how much every day? If you say energy, so much every day, right? Okay. Now, also that depends on the nations too, because how much energy they have to resist. So they have to overcome the resistance of those nations, right? The energy has to overcome the resistance of their nations too, because they have energy. We didn't have any, but right? Just like to push in the elevator to push the people away, you got to overcome the resistance. The people to push them back against the wall to get more space. You had to have enough power over their resistance to do that. Right? So that's how much. So, because remember, as you pushing, remember, I'm sure you told the universe that says the resistance factor keep building stronger and stronger and stronger the more you push. So if you spin, it comes back at you. So they're pushing. Right? See? They meet resistance, but they overcome resistance because they got so much energy and plus the discipline, right? See, and it was easier for us to get us because we had less resistance because we had no energy, right? We had to use up our energy, so they had to get the least resistance from us, right? They got the most resistance for Orientals, right? Because remember Genghis Khan, he kicked their ass and everything else. That was the strongest foe they ever had. They had the strongest foe from Genghis Khan than they had from the Muslims, from the Arabs. The Arabs kicked their ass too, but Genghis Khan, he was only one stop them was the Mamelukes. That's another story altogether, brothers and sisters. But the greatest resistance, right? Okay. But then what happens is in 1860s, the universe started contracting. So now we start gaining energy. All of them, they start gaining energy too. And they gain more energy too, right? See? But remember, they don't have so much discipline. So their power their power stays stable. Their discipline stays stable. If you can follow that, right? So they got more energy, but the discipline, they can't increase their discipline because they have not anyway. You know that. In fact, it's actually getting worse. But just say they stay stable. But other nations, right? They're getting more energy, and if they get and they're more disciplined by nature than the devils are. So what happens is that the resistance becomes harder to overcome. resistance become harder and harder for the devils to overcome. Right? So what happens is that they start losing control over the nation. That's what we saw. They start losing control over the nations. See? Because the resistance is harder and harder to overcome. And that continued from 1860 all the way up to now, where they have very little control over the nations. Very little. Because the nations get stronger and stronger and stronger. See, even our nation has more energy, because it says we even have great substance, great energy, we still have the discipline. And once that discipline is turned on, it's game over. That's what Suleiman's here to get that, turn that resistance, turn that discipline back on. That's what tribulation is all about. Because we got the energy, says we got great substance, we still have the discipline. So, and they want to keep us undisciplined. They want to keep us undisciplined and ignorant. You understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters? Oh, wow, I can't believe it's that late already. Okay. Okay. So remember, but they're an event. They are an event. Now, we got the 6,000-year event, but we're talking about specifically, right, this event that the Holocaust is part of it for the last 500 years, because that's the one they talk about in the Quran, the Adam, and the one they're talking about in Genesis too. That, right? So that's an event. So remember, so the event will keep going until it's spent. And then it can't withstand, right? Then the reaction comes because the event is spent. The energy that it takes to maintain that event is spent. So now the reaction happens. See? Because they don't have the energy anymore to maintain that power over the nations anymore. It's spent. Because it becomes greater and greater. Why don't have enough? They're using it for that purpose. They can't generate enough. And you see, America, one way you know it's because they had, $23 trillion in debt. They got to borrow money. That means they don't have it. They don't have it themselves. So when it's spent, right, then you had a reaction, right? The macro reaction. See? Because resistance, they went max they could, and now the resistance is greater than the action, the macro reaction. Right? And when that happens, there's nothing they can do, because once the universe starts contracting, there's nothing they can do to stop from contracting, because now, okay, the universe expands, now it's spent. It can't expand anymore. So now the contraction force is greater, so it starts causing the universe to contract. And nothing the universe can do about it. Nothing. Nothing the universe do about it. See? But the thing is, you understand that every action has an opposite reaction at the micro level, still working. Otherwise, when the universe starts contracting, you do it instantly. But no, it does it slowly, because there's that resistance. Every action, opposite, equal reaction, that's in the core, it's in the material. Well, I'm going to say the material, but the essence of the universe, right? So it's still, because it's going to be facing resistance. Every action, opposite, reaction. So it takes 7. It took as long to contract as it did to expand. Every action has an opposite, equal reaction. Hope you understand that, right? See. So the thing is that the devils, right? Once it's spent now, so the point is we get to the point where it's spent, and they almost at that point right now. See, now Master Muhammad, he has this knowledge also. That's why I was telling about the math of war, the ratio of power. So once they're spent, they had no power to resist contraction or was losing control of everything. They have no power to resist it because they spent, and now the counter force, the reaction kicks in. The macro reaction kicks in. And nothing they can do. See? Because if you try to force the macro reaction before that, then you're going to get a lot of, you know, then you got a war and a lot of casualties on both sides because they still have power to expand. But if you wait till they spent all that power to expand, in fact, you might want them to expand further than they could normally would, right? I'm not going here. I was getting ready to get into a little more advanced stuff, but once they spent, see, and that's what it says. Once they spent all the way, they made it into heaven, got control of heaven. See, it says that's where the energy is spent, and once it's spent, all of a sudden the contraction comes in. That's what Iran attacks. Transformers with me. They can't resist it. Nothing they can do to resist it. Nothing. Only thing they can do is keep it from happening faster than, right? Because they still, remember, the universe, you can't make it. It takes 72 trillion years to expand it. It takes 7 trillion years to contract it, right? So it's not going to contract faster than that, right? So he said, oh, well, I thought he said the devils will go overnight and all that stuff, right? They will. But that's not because of that. It's because of the dammed up force of the Holocaust. Because if you read it carefully, it said the Europeans, right, they wouldn't be destroyed right away. So they was given time to belong for a period. I'm not getting to that. Maybe I should show the verse. But America's going. Britain and America going just like that. In a year. See? And that's because we didn't react. And we dammed up that and let it go all of a sudden. That's another situation altogether. That's a little more complicated, right? But normally, if it wasn't for that, then if it took 5 years for them to get that power, it takes 5 years for them to move back to where they was before they came out of the abyss. See? So, hope I didn't confuse anybody, brothers and sisters here. See? Because once, that's what I said, the power be broken, I'll break the pride of our power. That means it's spent. So America, they say America overextended itself. That's the way they say it militarily. And they kind of understand that concept loosely, right? That means overextended means you don't have the power to maintain it. But remember, they can't just take control of something. It takes the energy they're getting every day. If you so much energy to maintain that. But they got another problem. I'm going to get too complicated here. Is that as the universe contracts, right? They suffer energy saturation, I guess you can call it. We suffer energy deprivation. So energy saturation, well, I should use that word. Remember, as the universe contracts, it contracts, right? The pressure builds up. And they have a hard time withstanding that pressure because they're weaker. And so therefore they got to use energy to try to maintain their structure. So they don't have, that's less energy they have to maintain control of everybody else. And so they lose control of their structure, ain't they? Transgender, they can't celebrate male from female, they lose control of their structure. They actually operating on themselves, transgender, changer, they're losing control of their structure. See? Now you start understanding these things. They lose control of their structure because the pressure is great and they have to use, give control, or they want to control these nations. Okay, then you got to stop controlling these nations and use that energy to maintain your structure. But they don't want to do that. They want to keep control of these nations. In fact, they want to get more control, so therefore they lose control of their structure because the pressure is increasing now. So I would call that, I don't know if energy desaturation is a good term, right? But because we were suffering not enough energy, now it's more energy, but it's in the form of pressure, which they cannot withstand. So they have to use more and more of the energy to maintain a structure. But remember, if they don't do that, right, then that means they're losing discipline, so they lose the power anyway. So I'm trying to give you to understand how to put all these things together, understand what's happening here, right? And their demise, how it works. Because when Master Muhammad goes in the war and with his angels, there's nothing they can do to resist them, nothing. Because their power is spent. And so they push them all the way, lose control of all the nations, lose control of everything, even themselves. See? Because what? Because they don't have enough power, right? The power is spent. In addition to that, they got a double problem because the pressure is increasing. And one of the reasons why the pressure is increasing because as the nations gain more, remember, power is pressure. And as the nations get more disciplined, that pressure increases. So that means the pressure on the world increases. And we create more pressure than anybody because that's why I said we become top of the nation because when we turn on that discipline and tribulation, we have more power than anybody. But that power is also pressure. We put more pressure on the world, put more pressure on the nations. And the devils cannot withstand that kind of pressure. So they have to use all the energy just try to maintain their structure, but they don't have energy for anything else. So they lose control of everything else. And then and at some point, they don't have any control to maintain their structure. They lose. That means they become captives. They, that's part of, I always said about they don't own themselves anymore because of ripping off everybody, everything got stolen, right? But the whole thing is that they're in total submission because the world they get into, they have no power in it. And the pressure's too great. See? And so they have a hard time maintaining their form because the pressure is so great they're exposed to. So they have no control of themselves, right? And then the pressure is so great. Most of them be in hell, but those in hell, the pressure is so great. You see what I'm saying? But I mean, they'll have energy. They have more energy than anybody else. Because again, remember, they still require a little energy to maintain themselves. So they have a whole lot of energy, more than anybody else. But they got to use all that energy to try to maintain their structure. Tons of energy. But the pressure is so great, they got to use all the energy to maintain their structure. They don't have no energy for anything else. So they total slaves, they were trying to make us everlasting slaves, and they end up turning back on them. There's no consequence because they're our property, because everything their property, they're the result of stolen property to begin with. I think we'll leave it there, brothers and sisters. I don't know if it's too complicated with it. I wish I could get some feedback so I know how much I'm registering, because I'm trying to bring this together about the math of war, right? Events, right? The reaction to events on the macro level and the micro level. So right now, on the macro level, right? That event is. That's why it says the iniquity of Amorites has not been finished or whatever. That means that event is not completely finished yet at the time of when this war takes place. At the end of the 400 years. So we return, but the iniquity, so that means that event is still haven't quite taken place. So it's not finished yet. See, so the fourth generation is still not quite finished. But it's almost. And we see right now, and we see what happens is that once it's spent, right? Because the one heaven, first that's part, and once it's spent, that's the part where it's telling you Michael's angels go to war because their power is spent, and now it's reversed. It says right now, reversed, they kicked out everything. They had no power to resist. So they fought back, but they weren't strong enough. Ain't that what it says? Let's look at it, see. You got to pay attention to these words. Why would we say that? And then I'm going to close out, brothers and sisters. I'm going to close out. Let's see if I can find this quickly. Nope. Michael's angels with the war, the dragon's angels in war, and it proved not strong. See, they have enough energy to fight back. See, because now Michael's angels are stronger. Their power is greater. Another way of saying power, their power is greater. And so they have no power. They fight, but their power is not. So they're driven back. And that's where right now. At what point is that power spent? And we know we're very close. Once it's spent, then you see the reverse. Every action has an equal reaction. So with Michael's angels, that's the reaction to 500 years of the devil. Because that's what it says in another verse here. Right? That's where the end was. The end when they're in conflict in the Middle East. That's the end of that event. So now you had a reaction. And what the reaction is, they're thrown back out of heaven. Everything's backed up, reversed. Every action has an opposite equal reaction. So what they was doing, all to the nations be done to them. But because of the fulcrum, it's double. It doesn't make any sense to you, brothers and sisters. See, that's why it says, do that as done to you. So, but because of the fulcrum, you understand all these pieces, I'm trying to put all these pieces together for you. It's done double to them. Well, they say double, it may be even more than that, but the point is they're trying to get you to understand that it's more than equal. Right? And everything's reversed. They get kicked out of heaven where they were. They be reversed, right? They come back. They fighting each other. They attack us. Right? And let me reiterate now. Great fear, great terror. I didn't use that word terror. Great terror is going to is about to equip this nation. It's great terror. Great fear. They be terrorized. They call everybody terrorist. America's the greatest terrorist nation on the planet. Now America is the terrorist nation. They call everybody terrorist. They're the greatest terror. They terrorized us for 40 years. You don't maintain a system like that without terror. Now they'll be terrorized. Now put they 500 years of terror on us. Now they're going to find all that terror in 1 year? Damn. You can't imagine what it's going to be like. How can we withstand that kind of terror? That's what the hearts be failing. From fear, that terror. The terror be off the chart. And some of you are going to be, you're witnessing it. You're going to see it firsthand. That's HD. What will people be like when they're terrorized like that? How would they act? What would they be like? Assuming they can even survive, because most of them are going to like heart attacks and strokes. But those that don't, it says the children, they'd be gray-headed. The terror would be off the chart. Who could survive that move? Can you imagine what anything what it'd be like? No, you can't. And part of the reason why the Holocaust, not the Holocaust, the tribulation, right? And so we have people here that can witness it firsthand, can see it firsthand. It's like, having, I don't want to downplay it and dismiss it, brothers and sisters, but it's like having a camera crew in here. So eyewitnesses, because otherwise you wouldn't know, you could not imagine what it's going to be like. So when they come back from the Holocaust, they got stories to tell. Not the Holocaust, I keep getting it. From the tribulation, they have stories to tell. Because they're going to see this. They're going to witness it. See? And remember, we're the gods. Allah is He who comprehends all vision, but vision comprehends not. So you're going to be God's eyes on that, because we see everything. So you're going to be God's eyes on the tribulation, see exactly what happened to these people. You're going to be the witness. I tell you, we take advantage of everything, brothers and sisters. We take advantage of everything. You say, oh, yeah, well, that's part of it. Because you're going through it, you're going to tear ass and everything else, but you're going to be a witness. Because you're God's eyes. And you're going to be a witness to what happens to them and the terror they suffer. You'll be witness to it. Because otherwise, we'd have to just guess what it looks like. We know about guessing, right? No. Scriptures can't tell you. You're going to be a witness, eyewitness, to see exactly what the hell is going to be like, the hell they're about to go through. It's going to be like. You're going to be a witness. And you're also going to be a witness, you're going to be also a witness to the power, because You're going to be witness to the power of discipline and the 5 pillars, because you're never going to witness the pillars like you ever again, like you're going to witness it then, because you're never going to be in that kind of trouble. And you're going to be under all that pressure. You're going to be in a fire furnace that's 1,000,000,000 times hotter than the sun, and it's not going to burn you. So you're going to see that, let's say, those of pure heart will see God. You're going to see God firsthand, because you're going to see the power of the universe, right? And your power you are, you're going to witness. That's one way you're going to find out, you witness how powerful you are. Because when you see that, and you see all this, and it's not harming you at all, because you're applying your nature. That's your nature, discipline. You're applying it, and you see, it's nothing. That experience that'll make you wiser than anybody, because it won't be a guess. It won't be conjecture, right? It'll be. And I'm gonna close with this. Like I said, when I was in Guam, and I told you they carried me every kind of way, and now I'm not a Christian, right? If I was a Christian, I'd have been saying, man, Jesus was there, because I haven't told you the whole story, but every time they came at me, it was angels kicking their ass. They couldn't touch me. Every time, I was on alone, no money and nothing. They had me in jail, all that kind of stuff, and nothing touched me. And they didn't put their hands on me either. Every time they came at me, like they throw a ball and somebody knocking out the park. Every time. And now I understood this academically, but the experience was a whole different issue. See, when you experience that, that's a whole different, because after that experience, I said, wow. Right? Yeah, oh man, that cake looks good. And then you get a chance to taste it. Damn, it is good. It look good. But now you taste it, now you know it's good. But you're going to taste, you're going to see the hand of God close up. We're talking about mystery God here. We're talking about the power of God, which is your power. You're going to see your power. Your power. You're going to see it. And so when you come out, you're going to know your gods. And you're going to see the power of these sisters. You're going to know they gods too. Because they're going, you're going to see that. And you'll have respect for them. They'll have respect for you, because they have to achieve, they have to overcome it too. So you have mutual respect for each other, because you overcame that. And that's what gives you so much confidence in yourself. Because after that, nothing can touch you. We can touch you after that. Nothing. After you went through that, then you're God. Case closed. Into that story. See? Because that part of tribulation is to prove to yourself that you're God. I'm a God is one thing, say it. Like I had people tell me, man, I'm not going to tribulation. You don't know a goddamn thing. I heard people say, I said, man, how you know you're going to handle it? I can't tell you I can handle it. I believe I probably could, but I don't know I can handle it. I ain't been through it. I'd be a fool to tell you I can handle something I ain't never experienced. The unprecedented, how the hell I know I can spend. I'd be telling you, that shows I'm a fool if I tell you I can handle it. I can't tell you that. And maybe that's one of the reasons why Masra takes me out of here. Because I'm 75 years old, maybe you don't want me to deal with that. I don't know. I mean, something I don't know. You don't take no chances. You understand? But I can tell you how, I ain't afraid to go through it. At least not now, but once I take a peep, I might, like you say, I ain't afraid to jump in that water, then you stick your toe in, oh man, well, I changed my mind. I'm not going to speak on that, bro, so I can't say. Right? I know if you come through it, you will be certified. Right? That's if you come through on the positive side. If you come through any other kind of way, like I said, you ain't going to come through right anyway, because you don't come through whole. Okay, bro, so I think we'll leave it there. I had no idea it was going to be this long. Oof. Time just flies. I can't believe it. Well, we're here. Yeah, okay. I was getting to all this, brothers and sisters, but What's going on here? Okay, this is not working right. It's not working right. I'm doing something wrong. Hold on here. Oh, I know. Okay. The mode I'm in the wrong mode. Okay. In the wrong mode here. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there, brothers and sisters. Right? Their power is about spent. And when it does, like I said, roll them back up, roll them up like a carpet. And nothing they can do. Right? Because now, reverse, nothing they can do. Their power is spent. If you understand that, brothers and sisters. That's what we're dealing with. Right? And now your power with discipline is growing. And you got the most discipline anybody on the planet. So even though they may have more energy, your power would be greater because your discipline is going to be so profound. Once you load the 5 pills, if you load them right, you ain't BSing around, smoking stuff on the side or whatever you're doing. Right? If you're applying that, your discipline will be, your power be, and you walk the angel like one hair on your head to be harmed. Right? I know, brother, you keep quoting that wrong. Well, I'm going to leave him alone. Okay, brothers and sisters. Let me close out here. Future news out. Assalamu alaikum.